Today we're going to work on a Leica M5. We're going to go ahead and instead of dismantling it, we're going to actually reassemble an M5 top plate. People have been asking for me to do that versus taking it apart. First of all, I'd like to say that people who are not mechanically inclined, who don't have a comfort level of mechanical things, not to even attempt this. But with that said, I know there's a lot of hobbyists out there, and I'd like to kind of spread the word in terms of helping the hobbyists maintain their M's to the best specs. Well, first of all, the M5 is one of my favorite cameras, and one of the things you'll note is that the seal, the Leica wax seal noted here, is not removed when you take off the top plate. It's the only M5 after the before the M6 that had this feature. So all the M4s, M3s, and such, you would have to remove that wax seal in order to get to the top plate. But for the M5, you don't. The M5 is one of my favorites because it has a light sensor that is just phenomenal and highly accurate, as well as being a bigger body M, which personally I like, as well as a host of other things like a very functional hot shoe that fits a very big flash, unlike the other M's, as well as a lot more other things that I could talk about, but I want to show you how to rebuild this like an M5 instead of doing that. So first of all, let me go ahead and put the cap back on here. Okay, and so I'm showing you the front and the back. The rangefinder is there. There's really not that much that holds an M5 in place. There's 5 screws that hold the top plate on, as well as the flash sync screws that hold it on. And the nice thing about the M5 is the flash sync is all one unit. It doesn't, it's not in pieces like all the other M's. So let's go ahead and put the plate back on. Here's the top plate. It's been cleaned, and then gently go ahead and put that in place. And this particular M is a M5 that is a 2-lug version, and some come in the 2-lug and some come in the 3-lug version. There you go, there's the fit. So it's snugly in place now, and you note that this is a 2-lug version. You see 2 lugs there, there's not a third over here. So this is an older type of M5, and personally I prefer it. 2 lugs are just fine by me. So we're going to go ahead and put in the original screws. First I'm going to put these 2 little screws in that held the plate up on the right here. Move that over a little. And with all camera work, never force anything. Get some glue and glue that back down later. Actually, there's some. It's put on rubber cement, so it's pretty easy to put that back together. Now, what we're going to do is go ahead and use the brass screw here to put the ASA screw back in. That's the one that really holds the top support here. So that gets a plastic washer with the ASA knob, and just make sure that the teeth go on to the teeth inside the knob. Unfortunately, this is brass, so it doesn't hold with a magnet. That brass screw for the top, and work that down as well. Just test your essay, make sure it works. Okay, great. Then what I would do is put a spot of glue there and go ahead and put this little sticker back on here. And that would be that. The next step I would do is I would go ahead and put the lugs back. And the way I would do that is just originally, to remove these lugs, what you have to do is, if you have vulcanite on there, you would have to use a paint thinner gel, brush it on, and you would have to remove all of that vulcanite to get to these screws. And then afterwards, you can just buy a generic little sticker and stick it back in there, and you're good to go. We'll place that better next time. Anyway, and the last step here to hold the top plate down, we're going to go ahead and screw in these flash sinks. And like I said, it's just a flash sink that you just screw on by hand. The last part, you can go ahead and I just like using some tape to kind of help out with the grip, and I just squeeze that in. You can also use a wrench here to help tighten it out. Or if you don't have a wrench, you can use the old pliers with some tape and gently lock that into place. And so we're going to go ahead and put these two in. Yeah, I really like this tape method. It really works well. If the camera itself jams a little bit, that's the best way to get it off in my mind, with some tape. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and start assembling the wind lever back into place. The way we do that, first of all, is we go ahead and put the shutter speed dial back on. And then next, we are going to put in the original retaining screw for the shutter speed dial. And you just work that in with your hand. Use tape for assistance. It's a tiny screwdriver. Careful not to scratch the shutter speed dial. Alright, I'm actually going to use this little tool here to do that last bit. Just to help me out here. As you can see, some of these tools, sometimes the best tool is the old screwdriver, just working it gently. Okay, perfect. So now, just test the shutter speed dial. That looks good. And then finally, the rewind goes back in place. And don't forget your little saddle spring washer here. And then finally the top retaining screw for your shutter. Just go ahead and give that a little half turn to keep it smooth. And then there you have it. There's your Leica M5. and completed back to its original state. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video because some people don't like to watch these videos because they're afraid that they're going to ruin their M's, but personally I enjoy taking M's apart and putting them back together. Thanks for watching.